All right, let's take a look at the controls on the DJM S5. Honestly, I don't like these controls. Don't understand why they felt the need to do this instead of just kind of give us maybe a stripped down version of a S7, or like an SB3 with, maybe a few less pad functions. On paper, there's a lot of modes. There are actually 8 modes you can run through for each side, and of course, you can set them independently. Big step up from the Newmark Scratch and even DJM S9. But instead of giving us like buttons on the top to cycle through the modes, they decided to use this thing here, this little mode button. And you have to press and hold it, and then you have to choose one of your modes, and you can double click it for your other mode. I can say with 100% certainty, I've been using this mixer for like almost 2 months now. I hate this. I really, really do not like this. I don't understand why we had to go this route. It's frustrating. It's convoluted. It's confusing. It's slow. Not only that, you only have the four pads, so you have to hit this 5/8 mode. There's no like visual indicator as to which mode you're on unless you press and hold mode, and even then, there's no difference between. Like there's a very slight color grade difference. I mean, auto loop and save loop is obvious, but look, roll and Q loop, it's like teal and like a slightly lighter blue. And sampler and scratch bank, it's like sampler is a light purple and then scratch bank is like a pink. Like if you're jumping between modes, it's like it takes a moment. You have to just kind of sit and be like, what am I on before I hit this button? Because I don't want to be on hotkey when I want to be on scratch bank or something like that. It's especially confusing if you have like a track that you're playing. I really hope I don't get any sort of copyright for this. So I have a bunch of cues there, what I like to use for juggling. But if I'm on scratch bank, oh, can you tell the difference between scratch bank and hot cue? You don't, right? So you have to press the mode. You have to press the mode button to light it up, and you can see if you're moving fast, you want to play a track and then switch to scratch bank and cut. You really can't do that. You have to. It takes a second. You have to sit and press mode and be like, which one am I on? On top of that, let me get rid of these two. I really like to use loop roll. And loop roll, let's see, you have to be on roll. See, like I have to think about it. It's actually like, it's really frustrating. And then you got to be on pad 5/8. And look, it's red and orange as the first two, especially if you're on a 32 beat loop roll, or not loop roll, 32 beat beat jump. And then if I'm on hot cue and I've got the first two cues, default colors are red and orange. So it's really hard to tell. There's that one button there, but other than that, right? And then on top of that, if you are a beat jump user, which I'm an avid beat jump user. I actually use it more than loops these days. Let's say I'm playing and I want to I want to play my cue point. Let's say I want to beat jump through those. I got to hit mode, roll, 5/8, choose the beat jump that I want to jump to. And then if I want to be like, oh, all right, let's go back to the first cue point. Well, now I have to hit mode, hit hot cue, hit pad 5/8, then I'm back there again. Like, let's count this number of presses. 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons. And then when I want to go back to hot cue, 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons. Like that's on some like Rain 72 effects controls level of convoluted. And it's slow, it's cumbersome, it's really annoying. I don't like this. I really wish that they just stuck with what was standard. Had a couple buttons up here. Give me less modes. It's fine. It's a mid-level mixer. It's under $1,000, but just have the buttons on the bottom or something like that. And that's it. Like I would have done without even the second half, like, or maybe Scratch Bank. I need Scratch Bank. Scratch Bank is awesome, but yeah. And on top of that, it's like you have to hold mode, but there's still like features where you have to hold shift, right? Like if you want to delete a hotkey, right? Or if you want to like, set any of these buttons up here, or if you want to like do any of the, like you want to auto loop, and they're right above each other. So some functions you have to hold mode, other functions you have to hold shift. On top of that, all these, these effects buttons, you've got functions where you hold shift, but also functions where you press and hold, right? And also functions where you just press the button. I get that they were trying to pack in a lot of features in this mixer with like a minimal amount of buttons, but the amount of combinations you have to memorize and the amount of like hoops you basically have to jump through to jump in between modes it's a little too much for me as a DJ, as a regular DJ who's spinning in the club or spinning at a party, and like especially if you're a hip hop DJ at heart, and hip hop DJs are going to be buying this. This is a mixer for hip hop DJs, and if you're just like used to like flying through cue points and going to auto loops and then going into beat jumps and then jumping into Scratch Bank and then back into hotkey, it's not great, especially since everything from their cheapest controllers to their most expensive use a standard control scheme with buttons on the bottom and modes like that, and this doesn't. Like, even if it kind of went back to the well and did what the S9 did, that would be a little bit, people are used to that. So that's my rant. There's a lot to like about this mixer, but the control scheme is not one of them.